Hello guys, welcome back. It's Christian from Emotions in Wine. We continue with the top grapes, as you've seen from the title. So today is the first white, Riesling, Rhine Riesling to be specific. Was born in the Rhine region, that's why the name Rhine Riesling, in Germany. Germany is the most famous country, of course, for Riesling, but of course neighboring countries and regions already have centuries of history. 600-700 years ago at least, the first traces. So anyway, Germany, Alsace, so it's neighboring to Germany in France. Then of course Austria or Switzerland, something, but mostly Austria. And then a bit of North Italy, Eastern European countries nowadays quite a lot. And then of course New World. So is a bit the same story of the Pinot Noir in that. It's also terroir driven like Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo, so this is a connecting point. Is a bit less complicated than those grapes and more adaptable. That's why you find it in every continent and in many countries. So South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, so really a lot. Is first of all floral, fruity, very high acidity, and therefore the aging potential is very good because the acidity is the first thing needed, first characteristic. So, and then especially in the older days, more the sweet versions. So acidity plus sugar, aging potential huge. Many examples of 50 or plus years old wines, still very pleasant. With the dry ones, you can have still a good aging potential, for me, more than anything else. But then depends, of course, on the location, on the vintage, and on the winery, the winemaker. That is very important. So, is predominantly fine for cooler climates. Today we try two wines from the Danube River regions. So one is from Austria, Wachau to be specific, and one is from Slovakia, Sturovo. South Slovakia is the main wine region, but Sturovo is the specific area. Why I picked this and not any German? For several reasons. First of all, I'm a Riesling lover, as most of the wine connoisseurs, and I like dry ones. In Germany, even the dry ones tend to have a bit of a more residual sugar to rebalance the acidity. Only the very southern regions like Pfalz have drier ones. There I love quite a few. I still appreciate those, but my go-to destination is Wachau. For me, Wachau in Austria, so near Vienna on the Danube, is the most interesting of all. We will talk later about. And then I wanted to give something that is in a similar latitude, not far away also, because from Vienna to Bratislava is close distance, and from Bratislava to this location is just another 150 to 100 kilometers. So not far from Budapest, actually. It's on the border with Hungary. So similar latitude on the same river, different soils now that we will see later. So something interesting for comparison, even though the winemaking is different and even the vintages. So the Prager from Wachau is a single vineyard, Steinriegl, Riesling 23. This one is called, is Világi, the winery, is called Terroir Selection Riesling 21. So quite different things, but the price range is similar, so I consider also that point, because Wachau is expensive. That's the negative. It's very famous, especially for the connoisseurs, but prices are high. In Germany, so the original place, slate, rocky soils. If you think about Mosel, if you ever seen where are those steepest on the river slopes, that is the steepest on planet. But even in Wachau, we see we have quite steep. That is slate, is that kind of rock in layers. very mineral. There is almost no subsoil. Then, of course, in whole Germany change. There are several different compositions, but that is the basic one. While in Wachau we have different ones, but mostly granite and gneiss, so still hard rocks, but different rocks from those in Germany. And while here is volcanic base, so we have different compositions of the soils. You may wonder why I'm using these glasses today. If you know Riesling, usually use white wine glasses, but 2 points. First of all, in a large glass, you open up the wine. If it's a quality wine, has more to show, has to breathe a bit, so this helps, especially in a tasting. Second thing, if a wine has little to show, here you recognize immediately. So I start to pour. I pour both together to let them breathe, as I said. Usually Riesling is unoaked, but today is an exception. The fermentation of the Slovakian is in oak, so that is giving also something different. Lower latitude compared to Germany, so a bit less cold, warmer climates, but still quite cool, continental basically, even if we see later more in details. Altitudes vary. Wachau has more altitude, even above 400 meters, while here on the Danube in Slovakia is just 150 to 200 meters. Colors completely different, maybe you can see. Of course, it's 2 years more, and then this is whole oak. So the Prager Steinriegl, so it's a single vineyard, 23, 13 alcohol. Very crystal pale yellow still. Of course, it's not that old. As you've seen, is screw cap. This is for the entry wines in Austria. While the other, you see, is already golden. So very different. There is no comparison. It's to compare, as I'm doing in this series, is to compare the different terroirs, the different soils. Of course, also there is the hand of the winemakers, but the main is the different places. Even different from Germany. As I said, these are bone dry wines, nothing to compare to most of Germans. Even those more southern drier are still a bit different in the characteristic, also because it's a cooler climate. I know Prager very well since many years, while Világi is a recent winery. I tried something, but not this one yet. So Prager is considered, I spent a few words about the wineries because there is more relevance here. For me, he is the best in Wachau and Austria. He is a geologist, Tony Bodenstein. Prager is the name of the wife, so he joined into the family. Already some history of the wine, but he stepped up in the last 25-30 years. Geologist, maniacal for the environment, indigenousist, and microzoning. Wachau is for me the best region for Riesling, because the microzoning is more extreme than in Burgundy. When I was there about 15 years ago, I was impressed, I was astonished. Even inside the single vineyard, they can microzone because the soil is a bit different, the altitude change already the characteristic, and he is a fanatic about this. So he's really expressing everyone. Ratings are unbelievable. He's Achleiten, which is probably considered the best crew in Wachau, is something outstanding. If you never tried Prager or Wachau, but Prager in particular, give a try. It's expensive, but it's very worth. His wines are another planet for me. Even this one that is still a basic, even if it's a single vineyard, is not a basic. As I remember, many years I didn't try. So you have finesse, complexity, depth, layers. The fruit, not that tropical, is more on citrusy lime. The minerality marking the Steinriegl, the vineyard, is marble gneiss, so pretty much the classic. These have a lot of minerals, and there is some topsoil friable, so the minerality is very relevant in all these vineyards, but even in this one. This one is considered one of the most interesting, by the way. Then with time they usually show some herbal notes. Here not yet, here is still on the fruit and the minerality, but the finesse, the delicacy, but still the complexity, the layers even in this entry are outstanding. It's quite expensive. In Austria it's costing about 20 or 20 plus euros. I sourced it in Italy, so I pay much more. I would say it's not bone dry, I mean zero sugar. There is a touch because it has a bit of a roundness, even if the acidity is high, it's vibrant, but it's already a bit smooth. So I think 1-2 grams he is leaving. Then depends also on the vintages and everything. They need to find the balance. He is not having a fixed rule. He is following nature and the needs of the vintage. Still aging, coming out some more minerality, some cool notes, and changing a bit also on the profile of some floral. Give a first smell to the Slovakian, completely different. Here there is ripeness in the color, in the nose, riper fruit, yellow first, peach, even some tropical. So this is a small corner, you can even see from the map on the label. There is the Danube and 2 small rivers, and they are in the middle here. And this is the Danube is the border with Hungary. Was historically Hungary. Majority of the people are still Hungarians, including them. Here only the top soil is loose clay. Below is andesite tuff, so volcanic. Not like basalt, is between the hardness of the rock, but volcanic plus some topsoil. So is volcanic, giving of course a lot of minerality, but the touch of loose clay on top give a bit more structure. Being on the river and 150 meters, something like that, is a bit warmer, even if it's continental. And the decision to use the oak, I don't know. The top line they do that, but for the Riesling I was not expecting. But then I discovered that they do the fermentation. So let's go back to Prager. 2 completely different things. This is really vibrant, elegant, fresh. Yeah, now floral, herbal. Length, depth. You have the fruit, the mineral, filling all the mouth, staying there. As said, is a bit smooth at the end because the sugar is not zero, so rounding up a bit. Good persistence, so it's really a great wine. This is his entry. Single vineyard, but still entry level. The Smaragd is the next level, where usually they do the single vineyards, more prestigious with more alcohol, older vines, which in general here is quite old. So that helps to give more complexity. If you can have one of the Cruz or Achleiten top expressions of Wachau for Riesling lovers will be emotional. I hope you guys are appreciating my material, what we are giving, that you can support us. We need to grow, to be able to drink, to travel more, to spend more. So we need to grow the channel, so please support us with liking, subscribing, and sharing with friends who are interested to see more in-depth details. Stunning as this. Is already well rated. I don't like even a rating for respect, but this is, even this entry is already above 90, easily. for the elegance, the finesse, and the layers that he gives. So that is also a bit a contradiction, because in a way it's a bit rich, but then the acidity, the finesse that he is really taking out of the rocks, the substances. That is the concept. He's extracting from the rocks. Okay, so let's go to the second. Only fermentation in Tonneau, if I remember. Doesn't give much. That is interesting. It's just a touch of creaminess, I would say, on the nose. But for sure that oak, even if it's already 3 years and a half almost, is covering a bit the minerality. So the fruit is predominant, and then there is creaminess. This has 13.5 alcohol, so it's older, oak in the fermentation and a bit more alcoholic, but doesn't have. The vibrancy of Prager is still competing very well, even being more approachable wine than this one. This one is a bit larger indeed, but not. The vibrancy of Prager is really a trademark. It's changing a bit more also this one now. So it's filling them out quite well. You have a touch of some little spice from the oak here. It's dry, but a bit rounder, beside the age, also because of the oak you use. So everything makes it a bit rounder, but still, of course, with good acidity, dry, pretty much the same as the other, I would say, and leaving this creamy note also here. In a way, the minerality is not marking much, so it's much more mineral Prager. Indeed, the oak, even if it's just for the fermentation, is still giving a bit of enrichment to the wine. So it's more the freshness and the fruit, that creaminess, the touch of spice, and the mineral is the last part. So it's very different. Besides the regionality, it's very different style compared to Prager, but also to other regions. This is the winemaking more than the soil, because the volcanic would have given more minerality, more that kind of style. Is the winemaking and then the age already that make it a bit more this way. There is no petrol notes, which is quite classic in the older ones, but it's still not that old. Lately I read some people talking about the petrol notes, I don't know if you are aware of that, as a defect. In reality, what I read so far is that first of all, I found it most of the times, even before in Germans and Austrians when they are aged. And second, what they explain, because it's a substance, of course, in the grapes that then with the time change structure and give that note. And they relate it mostly to low yields, ripe grapes, so quality product. So I cannot think about it as a defect, but I read this also, so a curiosity to report. It's changing quite a bit now. The minerality is coming out, so it's quite complex wine. And of course, it's more impactful Prager at the beginning than this one. This one is also aged, so this may be better tomorrow. For sure, the aging potential here is less. This one can age a lot. This one can age, but for sure less because it's already round, and usually Riesling can go at 10-20 years, even more. In this case, I think 10 plus. Now even some cooler notes, besides the mineral, that creamy, but some cool notes and still a touch of spice. So has a good complexity, actually good depth also. Now even more, is staying there. Round, even here, yes, they leave a couple of grams for sure. The sugar is not 0, but usually Riesling is never 0. maybe in more warmer climates. Otherwise, the acidity there high is a bit a trouble. This one is not easy to find, while Prager you can find a bit everywhere. It's not huge, but it's quite relevant and is considered really a symbol nowadays in Wachau. So I hope you enjoyed. I gave you some curiosities and some big tips on something top to try. Let me know if you have the chance, especially to try Prager. I would be happy to hear, because all my friends who drank it are huge fans. So see you next time. Like, subscribe, comment please, and salute!